I like both. So this is the debut appearance of this shirt today. Support the support acts. One of my students at USQ is very much into that when you go to concerts, supporting the support acts, and his mum's made these t-shirts, so I got a gift of this t-shirt yesterday from the student, which is cool. And this is a NAIDOC 2021 shirt, so this is, I'm wearing this every day this week, so
that's good.
Yeah. Over the past 24 hours about this petition trying to stop the Premier from going to the Tokyo Olympics. There are 58,000 odd signatures on that petition at the moment. We know, look, nothing will come of it. We know that. She'll go. Makes you wonder whether it's worth gathering signatures on these petitions. Peter Racy's wondering just that. Next week will be a year since a petition he started was tabled with the state government. So far, he says no response other than an acknowledgement of receipt. And Peter's with me in the studio. Welcome to 4BC Breakfast.
Good morning, Spencer, and good morning, listeners. And I love your hoodie.
Well, thank you, Peter. Yes, it's a NAIDOC Week 2021 hoodie, an artist from North Queensland, and the imagery shows traditional backburning. So that's yeah. Thank you for noticing, Peter. You were petitioning the state government to conduct a poll to name the new theatre at QPAC. So one of the things that's been going on during COVID, people who've not been in town might not have noticed. There's a whole new theatre going up there at QPAC. And you want the government to conduct a poll to name the theatre after a female Indigenous artist and to fit out the new precinct there with Indigenous artwork. Is that right?
Yep, because the external facade is themed Indigenous. Sitting in that within about 200 metres of the theatre is one of the world's best collection of Indigenous art from World Expo 88, which you know I have a bit of a passion about. And so 12 months ago, yes, I did the petition, I got a letter of confirmation back, and they said, we will look at it in the fullness of time. Well, after 12 months, I think the fullness of time has gone past. So in NAIDOC week, I thought, well, we should kick the can a bit to get a bit of publicity, because in the original idea, which I must admit was sparked off by a very generous Indigenous art gift by David Hinchcliffe, our former Deputy Mayor, into QPAC, is the Neville Bonner Bridge. And Neville Bonner was the first Indigenous federal politician. And with, when you're building up a bit of a tourist narrative, it's good to have males and females. And so I thought, what better way than making this new art theatre, or new theatre, part of QPAC there, themed completely Indigenous. All the internal carpets, wall fittings, paintings, etc. But I've heard nothing.
Well, on the state government website, there is a letter from the Arts Minister Leanne Enoch to the Clerk of the Parliament acknowledging your petition and saying the Indigenous design elements are already in train. But when it comes to the name of the theatre, quote, I thank the petitioners for their suggestion. However, it will be some time yet before formal consideration is given to naming the new theatre. That answers the petition, doesn't it?
Well, that was 12 months ago, though. I mean, how long do they want before they actually do something?
Well, let's talk about this new theatre and its name then. Why, you've said why you want it to be an Indigenous woman, so the woman to match with Neville Bonner, the bridge from the casino pretty much over to QPAC. Who do you have in mind?
Well, that would be, I think, really impertinent of me. I am not an Indigenous person. I don't have really a good knowledge. I mean, you ask me anything about World Expo 88, I can give you an answer. Ask me about Indigenous artists, but like Mulberry might be one. I'm sure there are lots of female Indigenous artists that would fit the bill to be able to bring that building and the internal fit out of Indigenous art to life, to make it a great attraction for Brisbane.
I'd be interested to know what our listeners think of this. 131873 is the number, or text 0460 61 116. None of the other theatres at QPAC is named after a person. There's the Lyric, the Concert Hall, the Playhouse, and the Cremorne, and the Cremorne being a hat tip to the old Cremorne Theatre that's no longer in South Brisbane, which in turn is named after Cremorne Gardens in London. So none of them is named after a person. I wonder why not something like the Olympic Theatre, assuming we get the 2032 Games. Why a person?
Well, they actually do have already a small part of it named after Phil Gould within the complex. So it's not exactly true that there is nothing in the complex named after an individual. And I said it goes to the heart of trying to get Indigenous recognition. And there's no better way than naming major piece of infrastructure. I mean, here we go. They've raided the gambling fund to do sculptures, right? And by itself, that's a good idea. But the gambling fund has run down because of COVID. All those organisations that rely on that fund, they're bidding for a smaller pool of the funds. And here they are pinching it to put up a statue. And there's a no-cost way of achieving a better result.
Interesting argument, very interesting argument. So you're suggesting a public poll. Can governments be trusted with public polls like this? They're hardly watertight. They can be manipulated. We've seen that in the past.
Yes, well, especially if the state government runs them. Not quite the same if, like the Brisbane City Council.
But this would have to be the state government because QPAC
yes,
is a
I
state
realise
government.
that.
Yeah.
But, you are talking about QPAC. They are an incredibly professional organisation. I'm sure they would not have a bar of something that was just fudged. They will want it to be professional, they will want it to be representative, and they will want it to have the ring of authenticity.
All right, Peter O'C, you launched the petition a year ago. You haven't heard anything yet, so you're firing up the discussion again. The new theatre at QPAC, do you know when it opens, by the way?
I understand it's about 18 months' time.
Okay, what should it be called? And do you support Peter's suggestion that it should be named after an Indigenous woman? 131873 is the number. Text 0460 61 116. At some point, the government has to decide what they're going to call the theatre. They may well already know. They might be just sitting on that media release for a day when they need some good news. But if there's any opportunity for us to have our say, who do you think it should be? 131873 or text 0460 61 116. Peter O'C, always good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much, Spencer.
You nearly called me Stefan.
Yeah, I nearly did.
Wow, I'll take that as a compliment. 17 minutes past 8. That's because you're such an Expo historian. Your head's always in that Expo space. That's
well,
why.
Also because the Brisbane Tennis Trail is an amazing asset and really a good example of the way you do things correctly with males and females properly represented. And there's really a great story to be told about Stefan's donation back to the city at Frew Park to Stefan Rackett.
Got it, okay. Another time we'll get the full story on that. Peter O'C, thanks for coming in. It's 18 minutes past 8 on Brisbane's News Leader 4BC 1116.
Hopefully that was okay.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
There are lots. I haven't read all of them yet. I will during the day, and I'll share some more of them with you tomorrow morning. We're back from 5:30 tomorrow morning for 4BC Breakfast.